Okay, we need a set manager here. So, we're starting a new series today, Baruch Hashem, on the month of Tammuz-Av. We didn't complete everything that we had about the holiness of speech, but I think we did a fair amount of that from the Rebbe. And if as a result of all that learning, people are speaking about Lashon Hara and careful not to learn, not to learn the Lashon Hara and only see the good, we accomplish a lot. So we're starting today on Tammuz-Av, and as you know, this Tuesday is going to be a fast day. Yeshivat Tammuz. 5 major tragedies happened on this day, and we'll talk about that later on. But the month of Tammuz and the month of Av are heavy months for the Jewish people, at least until Tu B'Av. Changes at Tu B'Av. On the 15th of Av, it changes around. So Reb Shlomo starts his teaching on this with something we call Shlosha Shiurim, 3 lessons from Reb Nachman. Rabbeinu HaKadosh Rabbi Nachman Mibreslav Omer. Reb Nachman says, our holy Rebbe Reb Nachman says, Today liyot oved Hashem, in order to be a servant of God, tzarich lilmod shlosha shiurim. You have to learn 3 lessons. Hashiur harishon, the first lesson is, Adam tzarich lilmod eich lalechet ve'eich la'amod. First, a person has to learn how to walk and how to stand. Kishanachtu mitpalulim, when we pray, anachtu amdim lifnei Hashem, we're standing before God. Kishanachtu asim mitzvot u'ma'asim tovim, when we're doing mitzvahs and good deeds. Anachnu holchim b'derech Hashem, we're walking in the path of God. Rak mi sheyodea eich la'amod, yodea eich lalechet, only someone who knows how to stand, knows how to walk. Rak mi sheyodea eich lalechet, and also only one who knows how to walk, yodea eich la'amod, knows how to stand. So I imagine that you do this, and I wish I would do it every time, but for example, when you stand up for davening, for the Shemoneh Esrei, right, and you say, Hashem svatay tiftach, Hashem open my lips, and so on. But it's good to stop for a moment and just meditate for a short while that you're standing in front of Hashem. Actually, sort of be conscious of your body, your being standing in front of Hashem. Okay? So, standing and walking, these are really important things. So when you're standing, to be conscious of that, now I'm standing before God. What does that mean, to stand in front of someone? Well, it's not the best example, right? But, well, actually, I'll give you a better example. Forget the first one. When the Vision Rebbe would come in, right? Everybody would stand up, right? Okay, what was that standing up all about? Giving honor, right? Okay. Now, we ever call to the principal's office? For good reasons, right?
Always.
Okay. and you had to stand in front of him, right? Now, what was that standing about?
Vulnerability.
Vulnerability. In other words, you're not right. You're standing. You're sort of standing ready to receive. Yes.
Judgment.
Standing in judgment. Standing in being judged.
Being
right?
Judged by the principle.
Okay. Standing in judgment. So it has a lot of meanings, right? But it basically means right now I'm not going anywhere, right? You're standing, and you're either standing in order to give respect, or you're standing to somebody at the door. You're standing to give respect, or you're standing to be evaluated. Boker Tov. Or you're standing to be evaluated, but basically it's sort of like stop for a moment, right? Be attentive, pay attention to what's happening, be present. 173. And that's standing, right? Walking is you're active, you're doing, right? You're doing, and you guys okay with the air conditioner so far? Okay, so you know where the things are if you need to, right? And walking is like you're active, you're doing something, right? So to walk means like, to also to walk with consciousness. Okay?
Standing is taking in.
Standing is taking
You're able
in,
to take in because you're not busy doing.
Yeah, but not only, depending on the situation, right? It could be standing to give respect.
I'm open more because I'm
Right.
not busy with doing something.
Right. Let me see. There's the books behind you on that shelf. And no, I should take out another safer. Okay. 173. So Reb Nachman says there are 3 lessons that we have to learn, right? And the first one is how to stand and how to walk. 173. Shiyuch Hasheni, the second lesson that we need to learn is Adam Tzarich Lilmod Eich Lipol. A person needs to know how to fall, ve'eich lakum, and how to get up. Right? This is already a lesson in judo. Right? One of the first things that they teach you in judo. Did you ever took judo?
Yeah.
Yeah, but in judo, there's a way to fall and to get up. Right?
It saved me.
It saved you.
I once fell off a roof.
Really?
Yeah. And it saved me. I fell the right way. It was only one story.
Baruch Hashem. So you need to know how to fall and how to stand up. Zeksat kashem. That's a little bit difficult. Eich lipol ve'eich lakum kashem od. How to fall and how to stand up is a difficult thing. Im ata nofel, if you fall, aval ata malei simcha, and you're full of joy, ma koreh, what happens? Hashem melamed otcha eich lakum. Hashem teaches you how to get up. Lachen gam kishata nofel. So therefore, also when you fall, ata tzarich liot malei simcha. You have to be full of joy, right? Emor, say, Ribono shel olam, master of the world, ani yodea, ani yodea, שאתה רוצה ללמד אותי משהו, I know that you're trying to teach me something. אתה אומר לי, you're telling me, למד איך ליפול, learn how to fall, למד איך לקום, learn how to get up, למד איך ליפול, למד איך לקום, you're telling me, learn how to fall and learn how to get up. Right?
Why is he repeating twice?
It's a transcript. He didn't write it. He's because you need to repeat it to yourself. That's why. Even more than twice. Right? Okay. So the falling and getting up. Right? There's a teaching from the Baal Shem Tov that one of the students asked him, why is it that a couple of weeks ago I had a great Shabbos, and the last Shabbos was not so special, right? It happens, right? Especially if you're stuck in LA or somewhere like that, right? Or it could be anywhere. It could be anywhere, right? It could even be over here, right? Right? So Baal Shem Tov said to him in this particular teaching, he said, it says that Abraham walked before God, and Noach walked with God. In other words, and Rashi says that Noach needed Hashem's help to walk. So Baal Shem Tov says it's an example like a child, where a child is learning how to walk, right? Initially, the child needs the support, like, the Tati or Mommy are holding his hand, like, the first steps you're holding both hands, right? And you're walking backwards. And the kid is so excited, he's taking another step and another step and another step. And then what happens? No.
Let's go.
The parents let go. The father, the adult, the tati or the mother lets go. And at that moment, if you would take a picture of the kid's face at that moment, it would be like, like what happened? Like, where's my security, right? Mm-hmm. Now, if you would never let go, you would raise a child who's always going to have to be held walking, right? When do you let go? When you think that the child is ready to take the next step on his own, right? So Baal Shem Tov said to the student, a couple of weeks ago, you're having a great Shabbos because Hashem was holding you by the hands. This last Shabbos, it felt like, oh my gosh, what happened? What happened to the excitement of Shabbos? Well, basically, Hashem let go of your hands because Hashem believes it's time for you to take the next step. It's time for you to take the next step. Okay? So it's not that Hashem disappeared. Hashem didn't take Shabbos away from you. Hashem just says, no, now it's your turn, right? So Now, the child takes a step and falls down, right? Starts crying, right? Okay, so you pick him up, it's okay, start again. Same thing happens again, right? Again. Eventually the kid, and you move back from the child, right? So the kid is wanting to get closer to you. And every time that he succeeds with another step and so on, he's so excited and everything. And that's the process. And eventually the kid starts taking more steps and keeps on falling more often, right? Now imagine if you would say to the kid, I've been watching you for the last 10 minutes and you've fallen down 10 times. Or for the last hour, you've fallen down 50 times. Why don't you give up? What's the kid going to say to you? He's going to look at you. He's going to say, "Is it guaranteed that when I'm going to be an adult, I'm going to be as stupid as you?" The kid says, "So I fell. So what? I'm getting up." Right? It's a stupid thing to think that just because you tried something once, 5, 10, 15, 20 times, and you didn't succeed, that you're never going to succeed. That's stupidity. Okay. Now, if you just keep on doing the same thing again and again, That might not always be the best way to learn. Maybe you need to do, learn some new things about how to go about it, right? So that's what Reb Nachman is saying, is you got to learn how to fall, and you got to learn how to get up. You got to learn how to fall, and in the sense that don't take this as a failure, but rather as an opportunity to improve, an opportunity to do it better, right? To reflect on, okay, so why did I fall? Okay, so, what did I do that should be done better, etc. Right? Okay. I remember a number of years ago, I decided I'm going to take some guitar lessons, and in the second lesson, the guy was teaching me was saying, like, "What's wrong with you? You can't strum?" Anyway, I stopped. I wasn't going to learn what somebody is going to, teach me that way. I still haven't picked it up again, but like, in other words, but you got to sort of, like, like, whether it's somebody else putting you down for having fallen or whether it's yourself, one thing you got to know is don't put yourself down any further. You fell. Good. You fell. But be positive and say, okay, Hashem, you're teaching me how to fall and you're teaching me how to get up. So that's the second lesson, right? Now, the important point another important point that he made over here is that you have to be b'simcha. You have to be b'simcha to do it, right? If you're not going to be b'simcha, if you're going to be chas v'sholem depressed, it's going to be like, oh, look, everything is working against me. Everything is working against me, right? And that's the difference. Sadness is something different. I'm talking about depression, right? The sad is like when something happens and it's sad. But you're not looking at it as if like this was done dafka against me, right? The depressed person is always thinking in terms of like everybody's against me, the whole world is against me, everything is working against me, right?
But isn't that a type of falling also?
But it's a falling that it makes it very, very hard to get up. Because you need to have simcha to get up.
I would think that if I have an awareness that everything is coming from Hashem, then I would understand that what's happening is good, even though it feels difficult. It might be very difficult.
Yeah.
But if I understand it's coming from Hashem, then I'm not going to be feeling it's against me because it's coming from Hashem,
right.
So it's for me.
Right. So, but depression doesn't let you think that way. Depression thinks that it's just against me. Okay?
Is Reb Nachman talking at all, implying that when a person can fall in while they're in a state of simcha, that
they can fall even while in a state of simcha. Like, I was at a wedding of a relative once years ago, and apparently the kala was from a family of Ger Hasidim, and here's a little bit of Jewish sociology. Ger Hasidim are generally very roly-poly. They're big size. You know why? For two reasons. One is
I was on a plane with like 4 or 5 Ger Hasidim going to
wherever, yeah.
Wherever. I sat next to one of them. There's 3 biggest guys I've seen in a long time. Like, I noticed. I thought like these guys are really.
Well, there's a reason for it.
Stocky.
There's a reason for it.
Like,
No, there's a reason. No, yeah, there's a reason for it because Ger is so packed. The only space that you get is as big as you are. If you want more space, get bigger. The other thing is that the other reason is that in Ger, they all come to shul on time. Friday night, like, as soon as it's time for mincha, everybody's there. That's very unusual, right? I mean, Hasidim and everything, right? Because the Ger women are trained to make sure their husbands go to shul on time. And if you walk around in the neighborhood a few minutes before Shabbos, you'll hear women screaming, "You're still here? I'm throwing you out." So if you don't want your wife to throw you out the window, be a bit heavier. Okay. So all that aside, so it's at the wedding, and like sometimes at the wedding they'll take a table and the chassan standing on the table and everybody's holding the table and dancing around, right? Anyway, these two roly-poly ger chassidim decide that they're going to jump onto the table, right?
Well, it's on
So, huh?
While it's up in the air.
While it's up there, like, this height, whatever height, yeah. And so they go to the end of the hall, and the lights, and they're running, You can just picture them, And they get to the table and they jump on, and of course, what happens? The whole thing crashes. They smash their heads, and they like, oh, let's do it again. And they go back to the other end. We start running again, So what I'm just trying to illustrate is, if you're besimcha, so you fell. Okay, get up, mazel tov. Get up. You don't stay down. The child who fell, he wants to go. He's happy. He wants to. I took 5 steps. That's great. I want to now take 6. I want to now take 7. I want to take 10. So when you're besimcha, you get up and you keep going. That's the point, right? So the attitude makes all the difference in the world, right? So you got to learn how to stand, and you got to learn how to walk. You got to learn how to fall and how to get up. That was the second lesson. Hashiyuh hashlishi, the third lesson, and these all go through together. Ma ata oseh k'shata nofel. So what do you do when you fall? What do you do when you fall? V'ata kol kach shavur, and you're so broken, ad she'encha yachol lakum. To the point, and this is relating to what you were saying, that you cannot, like in Imamish, like it's like really crashed, it happens, chas v'sholom, Rahman al-Islam. So what do you do when you're not just broken, but you're mamish, like, destroyed? What do you do when you fall and nobody's holding your hand? Are you looking for the place, by the way? Or the bottom of the page? Okay. What do you do when you fall and nobody's helping you get up? And when you're already holding at the end, you can't get up. He says, Reb Nachman, B'intayim, page 174, B'intayim, Hamshech Hashir, keep on singing in the meantime. B'intayim, in the meantime, Hamshech L'Kod, keep on dancing. B'intayim, Hamshech L'Lechet, keep on walking. B'intayim, Hamshech L'Amod, in the meantime, keep on standing. B'intayim, Hamshech L'Ahov, keep on loving. B'intayim, Hamshech L'Kavod, keep on hoping. Ad shepitom tasim leiv, until you'll finally, suddenly realize, me'olam lo nafalti, that I never really fell. Eich nafalta? How could you have fallen? K'shaha'echad yachid miyuchad, when the one, the singular one, the unique one, machzik otcha chazak chazak, when Hashem is holding you so tight all the time. Do you not know that Hashem is with you all the time? Hashem is kol hazman, keshalkim, keshamdim, keshenaflim, when we're walking, when we're standing, and when we fall, Hashem is with us all the time.
I heard that recording.
Yeah. Okay.
He's singing it.
Yeah. This is what was. Do you remember the name? Where did you hear that on YouTube or?
No, I got it on WhatsApp.
On WhatsApp. There's also on YouTube, you'll see there's a lesson that Reb Shlomo gives. I think it's titled "The Secret of Joy." So that's the Indian. So this is a lessons are like mamish, so important for living, right? Sometimes it takes a long time until you get to the point where you realize that you never really fell. Maybe it might even take years. It doesn't have to take years. I'm just saying, but sometimes for some people, it can take a really long time. You know, and in the meantime, it's like it can be very, very hard, and so on. So the point that he's making over here is that don't stop, keep moving, keep singing, keep dancing, keep, right? In other words, there's an expression in English, fake it until you make it. Heard that, right? Fake it until you make it. Just keep it.
The show must go on.
The show must go on, right? So you keep on doing it, and it's the same in the work that you do, right? It's like you don't give up, you keep going, right? What?
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
You
Right? That's what you tell people all the time.
It's like a wave almost.
Mhm.
It's like waves. It's like the sense like there's this time where it's like you're high up on the wave and all of a sudden it crashes and it could fall and push you over, or the wave can actually like push you over, but there are times where like the wave will crash but it'll actually lift you up again.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like just you gotta keep going with that flow.
tell people.
True. What?
You tell people that you
Speak up.
you can't think yourself into right action. You have to do right action to
think that way.
yeah, but it's
Right. Well, there's a sefer called Sefer HaChinuch. You've heard of it? It's a sefer, 613, this part of the Torah. We're not sure about who wrote it, but we do know that he's one of the Rishonim, like around the period of the Rambam. He follows the Rambam's listing of the 613 mitzvot, and he wrote it as a bar mitzvah present for his son. It's been translated into English. And one of the,
What's the title in English?
the Sefer HaChinuch. And he one of the things that he says often there is that Acharei ha'pulot nimshachot halevavot. The heart follows the action. Right? In other words, for example, some people sometimes say, well, when I'll feel like doing a mitzvah, then I'll do it. Well, how do you know that you're going to feel like it? You might, so he says, do it, right? Do it. Just do it. Just do it, they say, right? And your heart will go along with it, right? You see that also, for example, in the mitzvah of tzedakah. It's coming up in Devarim, but that's also in the end of Vayikra. So it says over there like this. It says that when somebody comes along and is needy, so it says, "Lo ta'ametzet levav." Don't harden your heart. V'lo tikpotz et yadcha me'achicha ha'avyon, and don't pull your hand away, or don't close your hand from helping the poor man. Right? But rather, what you should do is patuach tiftach et yadcha. You should open your hand. And don't do it with a bad feeling. Okay? But what it doesn't say, right, it says don't harden your heart and don't shut your hand. But instead you should surely open your hand. What's missing? It doesn't say open your heart. Right? So one of the Meforshim says like this: the hands are the branches of the heart. You know how to open your heart? Open your hand. By opening your hand,
The hand is the branches.
branches. The hands are the branches of the heart. And in fact, in medicine, they know that. There are heart diseases that are detected in the hand, right? And there's also those, have you seen those Chinese balls, the Chinese people that keep rotating in their hands? They do that also for the benefit of their heart, But in any case, spiritually or psycho-spiritually, whichever way you want to put it, is do an act of kindness, and you'll begin to feel kind. Okay? But don't wait until you're going to feel that way, because the fact of the matter is that we are basically self-centered, selfish creatures. That's the teva of people, you know? It's like if you ever visit a barn and you see when they bring out the hay for the cows, they go rushing, and you get out of my way, and you get out of my way, and you get out of my way, right? You ever see sometimes at a kiddush in shul? You get out of my way, you get out of my way. I don't mean to say anything bad, right? But you understand, but the nature of the human being is the raw nature is, oh, that's for me. No, not for you, for me, right? It's all for me, right? So how do you change that? If you're going to just wait until you're going to feel generous, oh, when I'll have $1 million, I'll give tzedakah. Well, you know something? People who have money usually like money more than people who don't have money. That's why they have more money. They like money, so they work for it. Understand? So if you have $1 million, it's not like, you know, oh, now I'm happy. No, now you're going to want 2 million. If you're going to do some Mishnah, right? Ain't other maze. The person does not die with more than half of what he wants. Because whatever you have, you want double. That's the nature. Okay? So what I'm illustrating over here is this point over here. Is that even if you're not in the greatest space, even if the person is fallen, even if the person is like mamish so broken and so on doing. Maybe you're not going to do every mitzvah, but make sure that you keep on doing some mitzvahs. Maybe you're not going to learn as much as you can or should, but keep on learning, keep on doing, right? And eventually you'll realize that mamish, like, you know, you're back on your feet, and then you'll realize that you never really fell. It was your thought that made you feel so broken. So the therapy is not to convince the person that, oh, everything's okay, you know, or wait until the person realizes everything's okay. The therapy is, stel zich op, you know, get back on your feet, start doing things, and so good. So you're not in the best space, but do.
I think this is the way. This is what therapists do with people have traumas from here in Israel.
Let's say good therapists. Yeah.
This is what they're trained to do.
Yeah. I'm not. I didn't argue with you.
There's something else I wanted to say. I think that we have a lot to learn from children. You mentioned the how a child falls and gets up and falls and gets it many times and can still not lose his happiness.
Right.
And so I think we were talking about learning how to fall. Part of it is unlearning what we learned later because to try and get back to our inner child, because the inner child does have these things.
That's right. What did you want to say, Ben?
It's okay.
No, I was speaking with somebody over Shabbos, and he'd been they have this therapy form that they use in Israel. I guess it was developed in Michigan, but then Israel really took it for people who are coming out of prison and out of like being institutionalized for a long term. And basically, every single moment of every single day is kind of focused towards like forcing a person to like basically every single person who's involved, like all the members, they have like little note cards, and they can tell on each other and they're forced to develop relationships with each other. And they have like a economy that's set up, and
so you have to do something. You have to react.
It forces them. Like if a person isolates at all, then everyone picks up on it immediately, and they basically tell them they'll write a note card, and then there's two ways it could go about, and it's basically like they'll like surround the person kind of and like get them to admit what's going on or whatever, but it's this constant kind of
Right.
you can't hide.
Right. Also, I heard that if a bus driver has an accident, they'll put him onto another bus right away. Get him to start driving right away. Because if you tell them no, you're not driving for another week or two, then they're going to sit and dwell on their mistake and sink into it more and more. They're back on the horse. What?
What I liked about what Shlomo said also, it's like at times you can't walk forward. Sometimes you don't even have the koch, but if you just continue to stand, to just not, just to get up and just be in that one moment, and the next moment you can go. It's like this idea of it's all about, it's just even that 1 second makes a difference. And I know when you're rehabilitating and learning how to walk again, that's the first thing you need to really do, is just stand.
Right.
And then after standing, okay, maybe you can pick up your foot. Maybe you can set it down again. Maybe you can move it. Just stand.
Right.
And it's really special.
Okay, so this is something that's a real problem in education, is that unless you have a good teacher, right? So often, what do teachers do? The kid makes a mistake, or they focus on the mistake. They focus on the mistake and say, "Oh, look at this! You made another mistake. You made another mistake." You're a failure, etc., etc. So, just because you had a teacher that did that to you, you make sure that you don't do it to yourself and that you don't do it to other people. So, Reb Shlomo goes on. Now, obviously, these 3 lessons are life lessons, and they need attention. In other words, it doesn't come just from reading it, right? You need to do it in a focused way. So very quickly, again, the first lesson is how to stand and how to walk. Second is how to fall and how to get up. And the third is that if you fell and nobody's helping you get up, keep on doing until you realize that you never really grown up. Right?
Walking, learning to walk. We didn't really talk much about how do we walk.
No, I didn't talk much about it. It's true. Well, walking, basically, in order to move forward, you have to be willing to give up some stability. Right? You're more. The Alter Rebbe speaks about this in Chinuch Koppen. You have to. When you're more stable when you're standing on 2 feet, right? But if you don't lift 1 foot, if you don't lift a foot, you're never going to move forward. But the lifting of a foot is giving up stability, right? And but on the other hand, as long as you're moving, you still have stability. In other words, you lost some stability to get forward, right? It's like, or if you're going up a ladder, the space between each rung on the ladder is like an empty space, right? And but that's the process of walking. It's lifting a foot, moving it forward, putting it down, lifting the other foot. It's a process of going from stability to instability to stability, etc.
Is there, when the Alter Rebbe talks about it, is he talking about letting go of both hands at a different time, or it's always you're holding on in a lower place? And
If you let go of both, you're going to just crash.
Isn't that only when he's talking about that? He's talking about the tzaddik.
He's talking not just about the avodah tzaddik. Anybody, just to move forward. You're talking about Yeshivat Simchat Shlomo, right?
Yeah.
So he says over there. Avram, holy chassan, I'm going to call you back in a couple of minutes. We're in the middle of a lesson, okay? Okay, I'll be back with you in a couple of minutes. 10 minutes. So he's saying that in the verse, Kisheva Yipol Tzadik to come, but the Tzadik falls 7 times and he gets up. So over there, the Alter Rebbe is explaining that don't think that the Tzadik falling means that all of a sudden he's eating something not kosher. He's saying that even the process of moving from point A to point B, in the sense that you're giving up some stability, is also considered to be like a fall.
Isn't over there he's talking about the refinement of the natural and allowing that to come out, where he's relying upon like.
Yeah, that's right. And so, okay, but that's not for right now. Okay. So he says. So let's go on a little bit. Page 175. Kesher shel Torah shebal peh. Connection with the oral Torah. I want you to know every year our connection with the Torah is getting deeper. Every year, every year when we're reading the Parsha of the week, a new Torah is coming down from heaven. Mamash Torah chadasha gewalt is mamish new Torah. I'm sure that you've noticed it, but if you haven't noticed it, so then pay attention. You'll see there's always, he says, Kama sfarim nichtavu ala Torah. How many commentaries have been written on the Torah? יש לנו אולי חלק אחד ממיליארד מדברי תורה שנאמרו בפועל. We maybe have 1 million of all the different Torah that were actually spoken. לדוגמה, for example, בספר דברי חיים מהרבי מצאנז, there's a sefer called Divrei Chaim from the Sons of Rebbe. יש אולי דף אחד על כל פרשה. There's maybe 1 page for each parsha. Right? He lived from 1797 to 1876. So, אשאל אתכם, I'll ask you, כמה זמן הרבי מצאנז היה רבי? How long was he רבי? 61 שנים. He was Rebbe for 61 years. הוא נהיה רבי בגיל 19, started being a Rebbe when he was 19, והחל לומר תורות, and he started saying דברי תורה. הוא היה רבי עד גיל 80 בערך. He was Rebbe till he was around 80 years old. בכל שבת בסעודה שלישית הוא אמר תורה. Every Shabbos at the third meal he said דברי תורה. לפעמים בין 4 ל-6 שעות, sometimes as long as 6 to 8 hours, 4 to 6 hours. זה היה מעל גדרי העולם. It was beyond the confines of the world. היכן כל דברי התורה? Where are all those דברי תורה that he spoke? הם לא נכתבו, they weren't written down. איננו יודעים היכן אותם, היכן הם, we don't know where they are. אבל הם ידעו לעולם הזה, but these were דברי תורה that came down to this world. הם עדיין מרחפים במקום כלשהו, they're still floating somewhere. הרב מפונביץ' סיפר לאבי מורי, the Ponevezh Rav told my father, my master, ושמעתי זאת, and I heard it, איך רבי אליעזר גולדן, מייסד ישיבת תלז, הכין עצמו לשיעור. How the Rosh Yeshiva, the founder of the Telz Yeshiva, how he prepared himself for giving a shiur. היו לו באותו הזמן תלמידים גאונים ביותר. He had super genius students. הייתה לו ישיבה גדולה, he had a big yeshiva, ובה 400 תלמידים, with 400 students. אבל הוא אמר שיהיו רק ל-20. But his shiur, they was given to only to 20 students. 20 התלמידים האלו היו אורות העולם אחר כך, and these 20 students became luminaries in the world afterwards. השיעור שלו נמשך בין 6 ל-8 שעות. His shiur would last 6 to 8 hours. הקשיבו לזה, איך הוא היה מכין את השיעור? This is how he prepared his shiur. 20 הבחורים ישבו, הוא היה אומר, his 20 students would be sitting there and he would say, תנו לי 5 דקות, give me 5 minutes. הוא פתח גמרא בדף מסוים, He'd open up the Gemara to a particular page. Then he would say, Tznuli Rambam, give me a Rambam. We sakel Rambam. V'kach harav Miponovich Amar, and the Ponovich Rebbe said, נזגשו לו 6 שעות לומר לנו את מה שהוא חשב באותן 5 דקות. It took him 6 hours to tell us what he thought in those 5 minutes. תארו לעצמכם. So imagine, כמה דברי תורה היו לו בראש. Imagine how many דברי Torah he had in his head. ומה קרה לדברי תורה הללו? What happened to those דברי תורה? מה קרה לכל השיעורים שלו? לא נכתבו. What happened to all those lessons? They weren't written down. אמנם יש ספר של כמה תשובות בהלכה ממנו. Yes, we have a sefer with a number of responses of his. אבל זה אולי חלק אחד ממיליארד מדברי תורתו, but it's only a millionth of maybe of all his דברי תורה. קחו למשל את הגאון הרוגצ'ובר. Take the Rogatchover Gaon, for example, Sofnat Paneach, the author of a sefer called Sofnat Paneach. Ma nishar ma'anagzer, what's left? What do we have left from this giant? Nitfesu mimeno rak kama tshuvot. A few responses have been printed. Yesh et hatorot shekatav b'pinot sfarav, and we have these little glossary comments that he has written on the pages in his books. Moshe Rabbeinu yarad mehar Sinai v'ra'ah shosim et egel hazahav. Moshe Rabbeinu came down and he saw that we made the golden calf. He broke the luchot. Then he brought a new set. Makara. So what happened? Until he broke the luchot, we have the 5 books of the Chumash. When does the Torah actually begin? Kol HaNevi'im Shishim B'Shtayim Masechtot HaShas. All the books of the prophets, all the 62 books of the Talmud. HaZohar, HaKol Hitchil Acharei Shvirat HaLuchot. Everything began when the Luchot got broken. Atem yodim madua? You know why? Ki Gewalt Hitga'aganu LaTorah, because now when the Luchot were broken, we mamish yearned for the Torah. Gewalt hitga'aganu LaTorah. Gewalt, we yearned for it so much. So, I was going to explain this some more, which we'll continue with tomorrow, Mr. Shem, but basically, it's like this. If somebody falls and they want to get up and they want to achieve, they want to do, the more you yearn to do it, the more you're going to be able to do it. If you stop wanting, right, and you just say, well, it's broken, you know, Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall, Humpty Dumpty had a fall, and all the king's men and all the king's horses couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. But if you're going to go that way, then Humpty Dumpty is going to just lie there broken and nothing's going to come of it, right? But if you say, I really wanted to get to the top of this mountain, and look what happened, I fell, you know? Okay, if you give up wanting, you're not going to get there. But if you really want to, right? So I wanted to get close to Hashem. I learned so much and so much Torah, right? I did so many mitzvahs. And then I crashed. Well, if you want to get close to Hashem, so then in a certain sense you realize that the Torah that you had until now was enough to get you just so far. And in order to keep moving closer, you need more deeper Torah. So if you're yearning for it, the Torah is infinite. If you're yearning for it, if you want it, then Hashem is going to give it to you. That's what he's saying about Torah Shabbat, right? We got the Torah. What did we do? He made a golden calf, and it was on Shavuos of the Tammuz, the 17th of Tammuz. One of the reasons that we fast on the 17th of Tammuz is because this is the day the luchot were broken. It's 40 days after Shavuos. So once the luchot were broken, so some people might have thought to themselves, okay, that's it. The game is over. We're not going any further, right? But those were the ones who held on to the golden calf, and that was their end, right? But those who said, wait a minute, I need something more. I need another deeper level of understanding of Torah. I need to go deeper into Torah. So that's when Torah Shabbal Peh started getting developed.
What I like about this imagery is that the luchos had a break so there could be depth. It opened it up. Like maybe if the luchos weren't broken, we would have everything be more perpetuates, that it wouldn't necessarily have the depth of understanding what it means to fall and then get up again. So to speak.
That would be Midat Elokim, right? Yeah. Okay, someone remember please where we stopped, and remember that tomorrow's lesson is part 2. I don't remember these things. Okay, sure.
I don't think I'll be here tomorrow.